they're talking about a big sunspot.
And now we can see you.
Oh, I have to say something about COVID regulations and meetings held in accordance with COVID regulations.
No, all you need to say is that Councillor Bruni is attending via Zoom because he's isolating due to COVID.
Oh, okay.
As soon as we get the sun. Geez, we haven't had much sun.
We can see you in the small corner, Keith. You look quite good in the photograph with the black background.
We're on.
Ready? This is the ordinary council meeting, Tuesday, 28th June, commenced 2:02 p.m. The Glamorgan Spring Bay Council acknowledges the traditional owners of our region and recognises their continuing connections to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. Now, we have one apology from Councillor Simons, and there's an application for leave of absence pursuant to the provisions of the local government meeting procedures regulations. Councillor Arnold made that application. And written correspondence was received. The leave of absence is sought for 1 day, and reasons are personal. They have been given. General Manager, do I need a motion for council to approve the leave of absence?
Yes.
Can I have a motion? Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. I'll motion is that council grants Councillor Arnold a leave of absence for the 28th of June 2022 ordinary meeting of council.
Is there a seconder? Thank you very much, Councillor Robinson. All those in favour? Against? Carried unanimously. Are there any late reports?
No late reports, Mr. Mayor.
Is there any declaration of interest or conflict? No declaration of interest or conflict. The next item is confirmation of minutes. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Browning.
I move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of council held on Tuesday, the 24th of May, 2022 at 2 p.m. be confirmed as a true and correct record.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Churchill. Is there any discussion? I put the motion. All those in favour, please raise their hand. I declare the motion carried unanimously. Oh, yes. Now, I have not mentioned, which I should have for the record, that Councillor Braney is attending this meeting via Zoom because of the COVID regulations, and he's isolating at the moment. We wish him all the best and hope that he'll be with us again shortly. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Woods, for reminding me about that important omission.
Thank you, Mayor Woods. Deputy Mayor Woods, thank you.
Item 2.2, date and purposes of workshops held. There was a workshop held 31st May. Can I have a motion? Councillor Robinson.
The council notes the information.
Can I have a seconder?
Yep.
Deputy Mayor Woods. All those in favour? Against? I declare the motion carried unanimously. Workshop Tuesday, 7 June. Can I have a motion? Councillor Browning.
I move that council notes the information.
Can I have a second? Thank you very much, Councillor Robinson. Any discussion? I put the motion. All those in favour raise their hand. I declare the motion carried unanimously. Now, question of item 3, public question time. General Manager, there are no questions on notice.
No.
Question without notice, General Manager?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have one question. I'll probably just provide a bit of context to it because it's a short question and just by way of explaining what it's about. Council's just recently undertaken some works on the corner of intersection of Vickery and Charles Street in Traralbunna to improve the pedestrian refuges and crossings there. Relatively minor works. The works is to basically widen those crossings to enable wheelchair accessibility. There's a question asked by Mr. John Heck. Please advise the full costs of the long needed corrections for the appropriate pedestrian stroke handicap access of the traffic islands at the intersection of Charles and Vickery Streets, Traralbunna. So the total works cost was $5,100 at about $1,275 per crossing. There's 4 of them. So $5,100 in total.
Thank you, General Manager. Any other questions?
No more questions, Mr. Mayor.
Item 4, Planning Authority section. There are no reports. Item 5, financial reports. Financial report for period ending 31 May 2022. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Churchill.
I move that council receives and notes the financial reports as attached to this report for the period ended 31st of May 2022.
Is there a seconder? Deputy Mayor Woods. Councillor Churchill, do you wish to speak to the motion or not?
Just to say that I've read them. I see nothing there that I need to know about immediately. In light of the budget issue coming up, I'm sure we'll be over those reports again very, very soon. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Woods. Oh, sorry.
No, I don't. Just one to Mr. Teague, Councillor Braney.
Councillor Braney. Councillor Braney.
No, he's
He's frozen.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. I just have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
The question I have is, I noticed in note 4, I think it is, of the attachments. In relation to marina fees being down by $40,000 below budget, is there a reason for that?
General Manager.
Note 4. Note 4 relates to, sorry, I'm looking in the wrong place. Note 4 relates to subdivision fees. Am I looking in the wrong place?
You're looking in the right place, I think. I can't see.
Note 4 relates to subdivision fees, which are 26,000 lower than was estimated, and that would be due to the lower than.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's note 1. I've got a blot of ink on it. I think it's note 1.
Okay, note 1. Yes. Process water scheme fees due, marina fees, private works and sale of steel 40,000 higher than estimated. Peter, do you have any, the Director of Works and Infrastructure, have any comment in regard to that? I would just expect that we've undertaken more private works than what we had estimated. Councillor Braney.
Okay, thank you. I'll follow that up.
Yes, Councillor Robinson.
Through you, Mayor. Yeah, I asked this question at our last meeting, and I'm asking it again through to the General Manager. Under other income, we've got the Prosser Plains Rural Water Scheme reimbursement of principal loan. We haven't received anything this year, and the year-to-date budget is also 0. But over on the right-hand side, we've got 21-22 budget 102,609. So I'm curious as to why there is no year-to-date budget. Is it that we don't expect to receive any money this financial year, or why is there no year-to-date budget there?
It's not that we don't expect to receive any money, councillor. It would be more a timing issue that we haven't received the money as yet. So I would expect that to be through at some time. But certainly if it's a question around, if you're the concern around council not receiving money, we do receive money for the scheme from TASL. That'll just be a matter of timing.
But the question, I guess, is why isn't there a year-to-date budget? Where every other item in the whole financial documents, there's a budget. There's no year-to-date budget for it.
There should be a year-to-date budget, I suspect.
It wasn't last time, and it's just not there. So
I think
that sort of
Director
indicates
Peter
to
Porch
me
should like to answer the question.
No, I think
If I could just
Yes,
make a
please.
comment there that the budgets are generally placed where we expect them to occur. So were there to be regular billings through the year, you would see that there is budget allocation per month for those regular billings. Where it's a single bill towards the end of the year, and I expect this one is, without going into the detail to find out, but I expect that the income for that is likely to be billed at the end of June this month to be included in the financial year's figures. So to this point, there would be no budget year to date because nothing's been invoiced there. That would be my expectation of that figure.
Okay. And related to that, a bit further down, under liabilities, we've got interest-bearing loans and borrowings. I've just got a general question about that. Our budget's 458,000. There's a liability on the liability side. We've only received 12,821. Can that be explained as to why? I mean, I'm asking these questions, I guess, because it's almost the end of the financial year. And I'm just curious as to why there's such a big discrepancy there.
I can only put that down through you, Mr. Mayor. I can only put that down again to timing in terms of our liabilities. And it's a lot that we can't control there. But I will take that question also on notice for the Director of Corporate.
Thank you.
And she's not here at the moment, ill?
She is unwell, yes.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robinson. Are there any other questions or queries? Well, I put the motion. All those in favour, please raise their hand. Against? Carried unanimously. Next item is item 6, section 24 committees. First item 6.1 is a Triabana Recreation Advisory Committee. Can I have a motion, please? It's page 15. Yes, Deputy Mayor Wood.
Thank you. I'll move that the minutes of the Triabana Recreation Ground Advisory Committee meeting held on the 26th of October be received and noted.
Is there a second? Thank you very much, Councillor Robinson. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion or against? Well, I put the motion, although I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Through the Mayor, I've
Yes.
just got a question on page 17, new business.
That,
That's
I
the
think
next
is
one
the
down.
next meeting,
That's-
next item.
Yep.
No, we're dealing with 6.1 at the moment. Any queries related to 6.1? Well, seeing there's no comment to be made, I put the motion. All those in favour, please raise their hand. Against? Carried unanimously. Now, Councillor Browning, we've got 6.2, Triabana Recreation Advisory Committee meeting, 5th May. Can I have a motion, please? Yes, Councillor Browning.
I move that the minutes of the Triabana Recreation Ground Advisory Committee meeting held on the 5th of May 2022 be received and noted.
Can I have a second? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Woods. Now, question.
Yes, through you, Mayor. I just have a question with the new business about the report that the men's toilets needed unblocking. Is this something that's new, or is this something that's ongoing? So I guess it's through to the general manager.
I would, unless this has been discussed before at the committee, Councillor Browning, and I don't know whether Deputy Mayor can confirm that it has or not, but if it is a new issue, or even if it's an ongoing issue, I'd need to check that with, oh, he's just walked into the room, the building manager, Adrian O'Leary. Mr. O'Leary, the question is just in regards to the Section 24 committee, the Tribunal Rec Ground Advisory Group. And the questions from Councillor Browning in regards to the unblocking of the men's toilets. Was it a one-off issue? Or is it something that's been ongoing?
No, nothing of it. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that. Sorry.
It says in the minutes, Jan Sweet to contact Adrian O'Leary. So obviously that hasn't happened.
No. The last I heard from Jan was she requested some signage for the toilets and the canteen. And she also asked me to do a quote for a different key hierarchy. They felt too many people in the public had keys, so they wanted to get a quote that they said the club rooms would pay for it themselves to change to a new key hierarchy, which I got that, sent that to her. And then there was just other discussions about when the grant money for the showers, we're going to renovate the showers, and it was decided would start on the 22nd of August after the footy season. But no mention of block toilets, no. We did have an issue with stormwater out the back, which I'm dealing with, which we thought we'd deal with at the same time when we do the work for the showers, which we'll have the plumber there. We need to dig up out the back because it looks like there might be some blocked stormwater drains, but not sewage drains, unless that's what you're thinking about.
That the men's toilet needs unblocking.
Yeah, it's not the sewage, it's the stormwater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Stormwater.
and I've spoken to the plumber. It's going to be a fairly big job, and given we're going to have to do a fair bit of digging when we do the showers, because we're making all the showers separate cubicles, and in doing that by law with the plumbing, they've got to have separate drains. So we thought when we get the machinery in to do that, we'll look at those stormwater drains. John Dark, the plumber from Swansea's been and had a look at it. There's nothing staring us in the face as to why it's backed up. So we're going to have to do some investigating, digging to do that. Yeah, no, I have dealt with that. And I did let Jan know that that's what I was doing.
Thank you, Mr. O'Leary. Now, any other questions or queries? Well, I put the motion. All those in favour, please raise their hands. Against? Carried unanimously. The next item is 6.3 National Resource Management Committee minutes, 18 May 2022. Can I have a motion, please? Yes, Councillor Browning.
I move that the minutes of the Natural Resource Management Committee meeting held on the 18th of May 2022 be received and noted.
Can I have a seconder? Councillor Churchill. Any discussion? Well, I put the motion. All those in favour, please raise their hand. Against? Carried unanimously. The next item is item 7, information reports. Director Works and Infrastructure, Mr. Porch. There's quite a comprehensive report here. It's on the agenda. It's in the papers published. Can I have a motion, please? Yes, Deputy Mayor Woods.
So I move that council notes the information.
Yes, there is a seconder. Councillor Robinson, thank you. Any discussion? Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Deputy Mayor.
I just would like to acknowledge finally that the Tribunal School Crossing relocation has commenced and possibly by now complete. Yep. It's been a long, arduous journey to get that moved and finally it's done. And I feel that it's in a much, much safer place, even though there were no accidents, but You know, better to be safe than sorry. But and so my thanks goes to Peter and the department for doing that.
Councillor Brenny.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of housekeeping items, and it's just one of my pet problems is acronyms. On page 26, at the bottom of the page, the first dot point LRCIP, I don't know what that means. And people who are reading the report don't see any reference to it in the other parts of the report, as far as I can tell.
Mr. Mayor, that's
Just to have that.
it's the Local Roads and Community Infrastructure Program, federally funded.
Thank you, Director. The other thing as well, on page 29, my favourite charts and graphs, the two charts at the bottom, in the work request completion and source on the, pardon me, on the y-axis, that is 0 to 60, under May 22, there's approximately 52 on that scale, work requests received. And then we go to the work request categories, the next graph or chart, and the y-axis has 0 to 90. And even though stormwater is probably the most reported, as this report indicates, it's the one that keeps cropping up the most, it shows a value of 82. I'm just wondering what those two y-axis values refer to, 0 to 60 and 0 to 90.
Yes, please, Mr. Borch.
The y-axis relates to the number received within the number of individual requests received within the period. So that's in the months on the top graph. The lower graph there shows the aggregate for the year. So stormwater for the year is in the order of 82 requests we've received through the year.
Thank you. So that 0 to, thank you, Director, and thank you, Mayor. The 0 to 90 is an aggregate figure, is that right?
That's correct.
Thank you. It might be worth noting that it could be confusing to people who may not understand the process. Thank you.
Thank you to Councillor Brenny. Councillor Robinson.
Just through you, Mayor, just one point of positivity, I guess, with the progress that's been made with our assets and our asset management plans. And I just wanted to note that the asset data control has been taken over from Brighton Council finally. So it's just good to see that we're actually taking over a lot of those services that were previously put out to consultants and other councils. And it's really good to see that we're gradually taking all that sort of stuff back.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robinson. Councillor Browning.
Through you, Mayor, to the Director. For me too, I'm probably silly, but I didn't know what RFO was.
What page?
RFQ, I mean, RFQ on page.
Request for quote.
Yes, apologies. I shall endeavour to get those, where they appear for the first time in a report, they should be expressed in full, and I do apologise for that.
That's okay.
Request for quotation.
Okay, thank you. And the other thing was on page 30, it's about the grant application for Wailankta being unsuccessful. Do they give you a reason why? No? Or?
No, they do not give you a reason, just to say that you are unsuccessful with that grant application. So, yeah, we don't have any more information than that. It is of interest though, because that's that particular road is being assessed by the State Growth. We had a meeting with State Growth, a representative of State Growth in the last few weeks, and we indicated that we hadn't been successful to them. They're aware of that, and so at least in the discussions with them about any future potential sealing of Wailankta Road, there is a recognition that that bridge needs replacement and would be timely to do before the sealing.
Yeah, great.
Thank you, Mr. Borch. Yes, councillor Robinson.
Just one more comment on page 31. I note it's now the Bicheno Food and Wine Fiesta as opposed to festival.
Ah,
Is that right?
well, I don't know the difference.
It's a fiesta.
And I have a dictionary in my office, but it's old
No.
and it's Oxford.
Yes.
So I'm not sure what the difference is.
Well, it's normally the festival. I just wondered if its name's changed.
So what's through you, Mr. Mayor? I don't know, but both words could apply, fiesta or festival. It has traditionally been festival.
It has.
I'm not sure, councillor, if there has been a name change, but we will find out and make sure that that is corrected.
We might be moving towards North American English and our everyday language, perhaps.
Fiesta has a better ring to it, maybe, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, it gets away from the norm.
It's more of a lively
Yeah.
term.
Well, wasn't there a book written in the early 50s? The Sun Also Rises, otherwise known as Fiesta, by a famous author. All those in favour of the motion, please raise their hand. Against? I'll declare them carried. Next item is 7.2, Manager Buildings and Marine Infrastructure, Mr. O'Leary. Perhaps he could be called in case someone asks a question. Can I have a motion, please? Yes.
I move that council notes the information.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Woods. Is there a seconder? Councillor Browning. Are there any questions or comments about the report? Yes, please.
Through you, Mayor, just on page 34, probably a typo, 100 and Mr. Zero, I think 180,000.
Oh, yes,
Correct.
yes.
Correct. It's definitely 100, through you, Mr. Mayor, definitely 180,000.
It's not the comma that's an error, but the noughts.
It's
Is
not
that
100,
correct?
it's not $180.
I have a query. Mr. O'Leary, if you wouldn't mind answering this query, on page 34 of the report relating to marine infrastructure, it deals with the Bicheno ramp extensions. Those extensions are designed and built by Marine and Safety Tasmania as opposed to council?
Yes, I didn't design them. We went through the process. We went through the planning process and the engineers design, because we went through the process of the designs as far as the deflection. It was decided that just looking at the picture behind you there, Robert, the deflection of the jetty, we were discussing a 15-degree. In the end, we changed it to a 10-degree deflection, just to shape it around in line with the mast jetty, which is where the cursor is pointing to. That jetty there's belongs to mast. Yeah. So we did a deflection on the western jetty just to reflect the curvature of the channel there. But yeah, all the design, the tender, the whole process was done by Mast and fully funded by Mast.
And thank you very much. Councillor Brenner, you have a question or a comment?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just a question to the General Manager. I think this might be applicable. One of the queries in relation to the original support by council of the extension of this jetty or the wharves or whatever structures they were, I presume it's just the jetty sections, was that the existing jetty and sections of the jetty were covered by a lease or license that was to council, enabling council to legitimately maintain them, or at least be seen to be able to control them from a financing and asking for funds from Mast, etc.
Could you repeat that last bit again, please, Councillor Braney?
I heard it.
In relation to whether or not Mast helps fund any maintenance, the issue is whether or not the extensions are covered by a suitable lease or license to whoever should be responsible, whether that be council or Mast or the Crown. At the time of the original approval by council, no area available for the extension that was covered by a lease or license. I'm just hoping that, I'm not asking whether or not there is one. That would be a question that needs to be sorted out, and I'd take that on notice. But if you could reassure council at some stage that the proper license or lease over those extensions does exist. Thank you.
I just
General Manager, please.
I'll just defer to the manager, Marine, for comment.
Yes, so with both the jetties, when we put a Crown consent in to lodge the DA for the jetties, I spoke to the property manager for Crown Land Services, and she said in line with the extension, she would extend the license footprint of the jetties to accommodate the extension. So if that hasn't been done, it will be done once the jetties would be finished. So they're well aware that the jetties are extended now, which does extend the footprint of our license.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mr. O'Leary. I do note that by Section 7 of the Land Use and Planning Approvals Act, a planning scheme may apply in these sorts of areas because council can control things over the sea that's just adjacent to its foreshores. And it includes bridges, jetties, wharfs, etc. The question of maintenance is, I bow to your personal knowledge about these sort of things.
When it comes to maintenance, the structures are owned by us and the responsibility lies with us, both in the liability of the structure, but MAS do quite often help fund the maintenance of these. But when we're allowed to maintain them, but if we extend or change the footprint of these structures, we do have to get Crown consent to both lodge a DA, which we have to lodge a DA, it's discretionary, as we did with this one. And then we also then, once the DA is approved, we have to get Crown consent to actually do the works, which we did with this as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. O'Leary, much appreciated. Is there any other question or discussion or comment before I put the motion? All those in favour of a motion, please raise their hand. Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you, Mr. O'Leary. I think that finishes with buildings and marine. Next item is item 8, officers' report requiring a decision. We have none, General Manager.
That is correct, Mr. Mayor.
Notice of motion, next item. We have none,
That is
Mr.
correct.
General Manager. Next item, petition. We have no petitions, General Manager.
That is correct.
Questions from council. Any on notice, General Manager?
No.
Any without notice?
We've got the questions, the responses on the next page.
There, item 11.3. The questions from Deputy Mayor Woods. Question from Councillor Arnold and from Councillor Breeny, and all the responses are there in the papers as published today. General Manager, is that correct?
That's correct, under 11.3.
Well, I think that deals with that item. The next item is item 12, confidential items, closed session. Well, can I have a motion, please?
You need to read that. Read that.
Well, I'll read in accord with the requirements of the Local Government Act Meeting Procedures Regulations 2015, the Mayor is to declare the meeting closed to the public in order to discuss certain matters. And do I read out the headings of the
No,
items?
I think we can just, so the matters are there, item 1 and 2, through the Mayor, councillors. So the recommendation is from the Mayor that council moves into closed session
That's correct. Thank you, General Manager.
at a time 2:36 p.m.
Do I have to put it as a motion, General Manager?
Yes.
I think I do.
Yes.
Is there a seconder to my motion?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Woods. All those in favour of the motion? Against? Carried unanimously. I declare that the meeting in closed section commences at 2:36 p.m.
Just make sure.
and